Spring Television. Ours it is.
Top stories of the news. APC presidential candidate Bola Tinubu pledges to re-energize oil exploration in Lake Chad Basin. Gunmen attack police facility in Ndemeli North local government area of Anambra State. On the foreign scene, at least 5 people killed in Syria after Israeli missiles hit capital city of Damascus. Good afternoon and welcome to Spring News at 12 on Western Spring Television. My name is Evelyn Ohiole. We begin with politics. A massive crowd descended on the El Kanemi Stadium, Maiduguri, yesterday to solidarize with the All Progressives Congress APC presidential candidate Asiwaju Bola Tinubu in his final presidential campaign rally. Addressing the crowd, Mr. Tinubu pledged to re-energize oil exploration in the Lake Chad Basin and recharge the drying lake with a view to generating jobs and boosting agricultural production in the area. He said the country will see peace and stability, stating that the people of Borno and their neighbors will witness prosperity, and he empathized with the generality of Nigerians over the current situation in the country and assured them that succor was on the way. He also thanked the people for coming to show their support for his mandate. Meanwhile, the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, has promised to lead the charge to reset and retool Nigeria, turning it from a consumer nation to a productive one. Mr. Obi said this in a series of tweets yesterday as part of his message to Nigerians voting public barely 1 week before the presidential election. Mr. Obi assured Nigerians that if voted in, he and his running mate, Yusuf Dati Baba Ahmed, will bring the all-encompassing change that will take Nigeria to where it is supposed to be. He noted that the change his administration plans to do will bring back patriotism, and loyalty should be to God and the country. Elsewhere, 5 political parties have collapsed their structures into the People's Democratic Party, PDP, and thrown weight behind the party's flag bearer, Atiku Abubakar. They are the Allied People's Movement, APM, Action Alliance, AA, Action People's Party, APP, National Rescue Movement, NRM, and the African Democratic Congress, ADC. The parties disclosed their decision at the grand finale rally of the PDP in Adamawa State, the home state of the party's flag bearer. Speaking on behalf of the other national chairman of the political parties, the national chairman of the APM, Yusuf Dantale, said the parties arrived at the decision to adopt the PDP candidate because he is the right man for the job. He, however, said the parties will participate in the governorship, national and state assemblies elections. The PDP also received the campaigns from various political parties, including some members of the All Progressives Congress Presidential Campaign Council. In the meantime, the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) says the National Youth Service Corps members are the only authorized election officers to handle the bimodal voter authentication system during the election. INEC Chairman Mahmood Yakubu stated this when he visited the training center of the presiding officers and assistant presiding officers 1, 2, and 3 in Abuja yesterday. Professor Yakubu said first alone for the conduct of a credible and peaceful election, hence the need for mobilization of the NYSC members. The INEC chairman tasked the core members to be loyal to Nigerians and not political parties. He also told them that on no account should they leave the beavers in the custody of another, adding that the core members are going to be tracked. In Edo State, a former governor of the state, Adams Oshiomhole, has dismissed the call for his arrest by incumbent governor Godwin Obaseki, saying his successor has no right to give such an order. The two political gladiators have been at odds for years, a feud that led to Governor Obaseki elected in 2016 on the platform of the All Progressives Congress (APC) in his first term to defect to the People's Democratic Party, where his re-election bid was achieved in 2020. On Wednesday, violent protests in the state over the controversial Naira swap policy by the Central Bank of Nigeria and the ensuing scarcity of new currency prompted a response by the state government in which it accused Mr. Oshiomhole of masterminding the demonstrations. Governor Obaseki was quoted as alleging that the former governor mobilized thugs to vandalize banks and disrupt the peace of the state over the Naira scarcity. But Mr. Oshiomhole, addressing journalists in Edo State, said his reaction to the allegation was one of amusement, with the APC senatorial candidate in Edo North arguing that it was up to the law enforcement agencies to investigate anyone that deemed a person of interest, and that if found wanting, they may be invited for questioning. Here in Osun State, the state governor, Senator Ademola Adeleke, has assured residents of the state on the completion of the ongoing Oshogbo-Ikirun-Kwara boundary road. Governor Adeleke gave the assurance while inspecting the road project initiated by the Rauf Aregbesola administration. The governor, who told the contractor handling the project to adhere to the specifications, further expressed his joy that work has resumed on the road, which was abandoned for over 3 years. Governor Adeleke hinted that work would continue on other sections of the road towards Ilaudo as resources were available to the government. Addressing many residents that received him at Alamisi Junction in Ikirun during the inspection, he urged them to ensure they drive carefully on the road. On his part, Coordinating Director, Ministry of Works and Transport, Engineer Olushola Ajao, put the current stretch of construction work being carried out at about 80% completion rate.
Well, I have to give thanks to God, because that was my dream initially in 2018. Well, you know what happened? But I thank God for today in 2022. God made it possible for me to be the 6th executive governor of Osun State. And I made promise to God that as soon as I'm sworn in, my first priority is to make sure that this abandoned road for the past 4 or 5 years, we have to fix it. And that's what I'm here to check. The road is so smooth, and I'm impressed with Samia. He's done a good job. And I made promise that slowly but surely he shall get to the border of Kwara. Slowly but surely, very soon. So this is the first phase that we're doing. And of course, I have to appeal to my people. When the road is so smooth, we will tend to be speeding. This is slow down and enjoy the ride.
Well, the percentage completion of the whole project as of today is 60.4 of the whole project, which starts from whole garage to Ilaudo, Kwara State boundary. But for the milestone that we are doing now, from the speed rolling mills here up to Alamisi end in Kirun, the work we are doing now has reached about 80% of that quantum. And we are very hopeful in the next 2 weeks we will have completed and marked the roads.
Now to security matters, gunmen have attacked a police facility in Ogidi in the Mili North local government area, Anambra State yesterday, killing 3 officers. The command spokesperson Ikenga Tochukwu confirmed the incident in a statement stating that the command has reinforced security in the Indemili North area of the state. It disclosed that the hoodlums started shooting sporadically on approaching the area command and threw IEDs and petrol bombs, gaining entrance. The command lamented the loss of lives and properties following the attack and called for calm, reassuring residents of the command's resolve to flush out the criminal elements in the state. The Nigeria police have set up a panel to investigate alleged extrajudicial killings by 3 officers attached to the Anambra State Command. The accused officers are Patrick Agbazue, Unwode Ikeruka, and Harrison Akama. Agbazue is the officer in charge of the Rapid Response Squad RRS. Ikeruka is the spokesperson of Zone 13 headquarters, and Ukbo Dudu Kofuya, while Akama is a police inspector attached to RRS. Over the past few days, several posts had been made on social media in which the officers were accused of allegedly masterminding killings and abductions in Anambra State. In a statement, Force spokesperson Muyiwa Adejobi said the accused officers have reported to the Force headquarters in Abuja on the directive of Inspector General of Police Usman Baba. In Zamfara State, police have arrested a female gun runner who specializes in supplying arms and ammunition to bandits operating in the state. Spokesperson of the State Police Command, Mohammed Shehu, made this known while addressing newsmen at the police headquarters in Gusau town, the state capital. Mr. Shehu said the woman, Fatima Sadi, 35 years old, was arrested following an intelligence report that she was bringing arms and ammunition to bandits in the state. He disclosed that police detectives arrested the suspected female gun runner in possession of 325 rounds of live ammunition while transporting the said exhibit to a bandit's kingpin operating in Zamfara Forest. You're watching Spring News at 12 on Western Spring Television. We will be right back after this break.
It was a Euro-American trade in slaves, by which 12.5 million Africans were captured from their indigenous homelands and transported via the Atlantic to Europe and the Americas. The transatlantic slave, also known as triangular trade, was the worst form of man's inhumanity to man and the most costly in human life of all long-distance global migrations. Hundreds of Africans chained tightly to plank beds in the belly of slave ships in horrific conditions were transported via the Atlantic and stripped of all human dignity on arrival in Europe and America. It is the greatest crime the Caucasians committed against the black race. It is impossible to discuss the transatlantic slave trade without a copious reference to impoverishment and underdevelopment of Africa and its peoples. The triangular trade left the continent in ruins. Western Spring Television identifies transatlantic slave trade as a watershed event in history. Born Jeremiah Oyeni Obafemi on March 6, 1905, Obafemi Awolowo was a prime architect of Nigeria's independence and most consummate advocate of free education and social welfare in Africa's most populous nation. Erudite politician, thinker, and philosopher, Awo was fondly addressed by associates and political colleagues, brought his unique attributes to bear on governance in the defunct Western region. He administered as leader of government business and the premier between 1955 and 1958. Obafemi Awolowo's premiership witnessed pioneering in multi-sectoral policy initiatives and execution. The Western region under his administration paraded several enviable records. first television station in Africa, first real estate in Nigeria, first high-rise building in Nigeria, first modern sports stadium in Nigeria, first agricultural settlement in Nigeria, first modern civil service secretariat in Nigeria, and first industrial estate in Nigeria. His face is on 100 naira denomination as a mark of honor for his distinguished services to his country. Western Spring Television identifies Obafemi Awolowo as a major character in history. Aminatu, the legendary Queen of Zazzau, is best known to historians as Queen Amina of Zaria, an old walled town and capital of the Hausa state of Zazzau. Amina was a great warrior and the first woman to rule the ancient kingdom of Zazzau. Her 34 years as queen witnessed an unprecedented expansion of Zazzau by conquests. Queen Amina of Zaria belongs to the class of Amazons by the might of her army and her strings of conquests. She opened Zaria to trans-border trade and was said to have initiated kola nut cultivation in the ancient kingdom. The Hausa Muslim figure was born in 1533 and died in 1610 at the age of 77 years. Folklores remember Aminatu, the Queen of Zazzau, as a brave, smart and talented leader whose giant statue now adorns the National Arts Theatre in Lagos, Nigeria, while many educational institutions bear her name. Western Spring Television identifies Queen Amina as a watershed character in history.
Welcome back. Moving on, the Nigeria Police Force (NPF) have warned against divisive governments as Nigerians battle a cash crunch in the country and amidst the prevailing outcries and reactions on the new Naira policy. Force spokesman Olumuyiwa Adejobi, in a statement yesterday, said the force has deemed it necessary to caution groups and individuals against divisive comments and utterances capable of heating up the polity and triggering a crisis in the nation. The police also warned Nigerians against violence, hooliganism and vandalism that may jeopardize the ongoing electoral process, while assuring them of working to provide a peaceful environment for all citizens to conduct their socio-economic activities. Earlier, Mr. Adejobi had warned against the destruction of bank facilities following the protests that hit several parts of the country. The Assistant Inspector General in charge of Zone 6, Commando Shobo, acting AIG Akonde Sikiru Kayode, has advised parents and guardians to warn their children and wards against involvement in any forms of violent protest. He noted that violence has never helped any nation and it is never a solution to the problem confronting the nation. He made this known in a statement released by spokesperson of the zone, SP Ayani Benjamin, urging residents to remain calm and go about their legitimate businesses, as the zone will not allow the breakdown of law and order within its jurisdiction. He added that the police ICT department is working and analyzing all the video records to help clamp down on criminals and miscreants who took advantage of the current security situation to break into government and private properties. AIG Kayode also directed commissioners of police in Oyo and Osun states to activate their intelligence bureaus to start picking all the thugs and miscreants involved in past violent protests. For news outside of Nigeria, Syria's military says 5 people have died after what it alleged where Israeli missiles hit the capital Damascus and surrounding areas today. Officials said a building was hit in the central Kafr Susa neighborhood, killing 4 civilians and 1 soldier. The densely populated district is home to a large, heavily guarded security complex. Israel frequently attacks targets in Syria linked to Iran and Hezbollah militants, but rarely acknowledges its actions. However, attacks in residential areas are rare. Today's attack was the first since a devastating 7.8 magnitude earthquake struck the northwest of the country, as well as parts of neighboring Turkey 12 days ago. To the Russia-Ukraine war, French President Emmanuel Macron has said he does not want to see Russia crushed by a defeat in Ukraine. Speaking to French media, Mr. Macron urged Western nations to increase military support for Kyiv and said he was prepared for a protracted war. But he hit out against those who is said wanted to extend the war to Russia itself in a bid to crush the nation. The comments came as world leaders gathered at the Munich Security Conference, which saw promises to speed up the supply of weapons to Kyiv and impose tougher sanctions on Moscow. Now, talking sports, Chelsea manager Graham Potter says captain Cesar Azpilicueta is conscious and speaking in hospital after suffering a head injury during yesterday's home defeat by Southampton. Azpilicueta lay motionless on the pitch after being struck in the face by Sukumara as the Saints substitute attempted an overhead kick. Mara looked shaken as players from both teams and medical staff rushed to the 33-year-old defender's aid at Stamford Bridge. Azpilicueta received oxygen treatment for several minutes before being stretched out. Though he was conscious as he left the field. Away from football, Lee Wood's reign as WBA featherweight champion is over after the Briton lost in devastating fashion to hard-eaten Mauricio Lara in Nottingham. The 34-year-old seemed to be in control of the fight and was landing with ease through rounds 3 to 6 before Lara unleashed a sensational left hook in the 7th. Wood hit the canvas and barely got back to his feet, but clearly hurt. His trainer Ben Davison threw in the towel. The defeat is Wood's third in a 29-fight career, while Mexican Lara has won his maiden world title. Before we end the news, here is a recap of our top stories. A massive crowd descended on the El Kanemi Stadium, Maiduguri yesterday to solidarize with the All Progressives Congress APC presidential candidate Asiwaju Bola Tinubu in his final presidential campaign rally. Gunmen have attacked a police facility in Ogidi, Ndemili North local government area of Anambra State yesterday, killing 3 officers. On the foreign scene, Syria's military says 5 people have died after what it alleged were Israeli missiles hit the capital Damascus and surrounding areas today. You can follow us on our social media handles on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Western Spring Television. You can also watch us live on our YouTube channel at Western Spring Television. That ends Spring News at 12. I am Evelyn Ohiola. Many thanks for your time.